Hey there, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. This year, we've been diving deep into our relationships because, well, it's the year of the wood snake, and that energy, it's no joke. So the snake in Eastern astrology carries this powerful, intuitive wisdom, like an inner compass that urges us to look inward to shed what no longer fits and transform from the inside out. And when you pair that with the wood element, well, that's growth, expansion, movement, and this year kind of explosive growth. It's like the universe is handing us an invitation to evolve, especially in how we relate to others. And part of that evolving means getting real about conflict. So now I know conflict isn't everyone's favorite topic, but the truth is we can't grow in relationships without it. And I don't just mean romantic ones. I'm talking about our friendships, our coworkers, our family members, even the way we relate to ourselves. But here's the thing. No one really teaches us how to deal with conflict. We learn to avoid it, or we're taught to suppress our voice to keep the peace, or we go the other way and blow up, lash out, or pick battles that don't really matter. So we spend decades learning how to solve math equations, but almost no time learning how to care for our emotional and spiritual well-being. And that's why you're here. And that's why I've been walking through The Art of War by Sun Tzu. So one chapter at a time, because believe it or not, this ancient book, it isn't just about military strategy. It's about mastering the self in the face of chaos. It's about clarity, discipline, timing, and restraint. So today, we're exploring chapter 4. It's a chapter that really hits home for women like us who are trying to do it all, do work, raise families, manage relationships, and somehow still find time to breathe. So here's the line I keep coming back to in this chapter. To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. That's Giles 1910. When I first came across this Giles translation so many years ago, honestly, I really found it stiff. It just didn't resonate. But coming back to it now, after I've done all the studying, it lands differently, and probably because I've grown more into the wisdom of the words. Hey, let me take a quick minute to remind you about HealthHUB, the members only area where we spend a lot of time talking about different exercises for our spirituality and the different aspects of our spirituality and overall health. So if you would like to learn more about HealthHUB, there should be a link up here in the corner or in the video description below. Sun Tzu is basically saying making yourself unbeatable. So one of the biggest reasons we get stuck in conflict is because we don't always realize when our old wounds are sneaking up into the present moment. It's like we think we're responding to what's happening right now, but really we're reacting to something that happened years ago. And if we don't know our own triggers, our own fears, or those deep unmet needs we've been carrying around, well, that's when things start to get messy. We start projecting our past pains onto people who didn't cause it, like we might not trust a partner because someone else hurt us long ago. Or we get defensive or angry thinking we're protecting ourselves, but really we're just reenacting an old story that we haven't finished yet. And sometimes without meaning to, we even create the very thing we're afraid of. So, like fearing someone's going to leave us, so we end up pushing them away first and then they leave us. And that's the real enemy. It's not the other person, it's not the situation, but it's that stuff inside of us that we haven't fully looked at yet. If we want to handle conflict with wisdom, that's where we have to start. Not with the other person, but with what's unresolved in us. When you've done your inner work, when you really know yourself, you're going to find that you don't need to win battles because you start to realize the battles are just a figment of your imagination. If you're wondering how you can start to identify these old wounds or this old training that you've gone through, well, let's call these training specializations. You know, you go to school to specialize in a certain skill or trade. Well, similarly, you grew up in a family where you specialized in learning the emotions and patterns of your parents and your family of origin. Taoism teaches us that the outer world reflects the inner. So if we keep encountering conflict, it's often a sign that something within us is unresolved. So here's an example. If you frequently feel disrespected, ask, do I truly respect myself? If you fear betrayal, ask, have I abandoned parts of myself? And the greatest enemy is ignorance of yourself. So when we know our wounds, we no longer mistake others for the cause of our pain. When we understand our triggers, we no longer hand power to those who press those triggers. So in relationships, the one who knows himself cannot be defeated because they no longer fight battles that were never theirs to begin with. Okay, let's look at that second part of the quote. The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy. So this isn't about crushing someone. This is about recognizing that most of us self-sabotage. And it's not done out of malice, but out of our own fear, our own ego, or our own unhealed pain. So just as an army defeats itself by overextending, a person entangled in their own anger, insecurity, or past wounds is going to create their own downfall. Ugh. So when someone acts from ego, fear, or unconscious habit, they're going to reveal these openings, moments where their imbalance becomes apparent. So in relationships, the enemy is often not another person. It's the misunderstanding between you. So the unspoken expectation. Think about someone you care about who lashes out when they feel insecure. And it could be a partner, it could be a friend, it could be your boss. And the reaction, that's their wound talking. And if you respond with calm presence instead of matching their energy, they reveal even more what they're really struggling with underneath the surface. So the Taoist approach is, to not engage in others' chaos, right? But to remain centered. So when you do not meet their energy with equal force, their aggression or their manipulation is going to collapse under its own weight. So one way to accomplish this is to refrain from attacking or retreating and instead witness. To see clearly, hold space, and stay present without judgment, without needing to control, change, or attach to it. That's where your power lives. In Taoism, this is a sacred stance. It's Wu Wei in action, which is the art of effortless presence, the power of doing without forcing. Let's get really honest here. A lot of the conflict in our lives isn't about now. It's about then. It's the betrayal from 10 years ago, or the parent who never saw you, or the partner who didn't show up when you needed them. And because we haven't processed those wounds, we walk around with this invisible armor that's ready to defend against attacks that aren't even happening. When we don't know ourselves, we react instead of responding. We push people away even when we crave their connection. We're going to pick fights not because they matter, but because we're still trying to heal this old wound, or we're still trying to feel that we're being heard. So this is why Taoism reminds us that the outer world reflects the inner. So if you keep attracting the same kind of conflict, take a pause, reflect, ask, what is this trying to show me about myself? So Sun Tzu teaches us discernment, the wisdom to know. The wisdom to know when to speak and when to be silent, when to lean in, when to walk away, when to act, and when to let things unravel on their own. And one of my favorite Taoist teachings is this: water never fights, it flows. If there's a rock in the stream, water doesn't argue with it. It doesn't try to move it. It just finds another way. That's what inner mastery feels like. You stop needing to win. You stop proving your worth. You stop engaging in drama just because it shows up at your door. You become that calm in the storm. Let me leave you with this quote from the Tao Te Ching. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. So mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. The deepest conflicts aren't won by words. They're transformed through awareness. So when you truly know yourself, your wounds, your limits, your strengths, no one else's chaos can drag you into a war that was never meant for you, because you don't have to win. You just have to see clearly and choose peace over reaction. So take care of your inner world. It's where all true victories begin. And until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.